Hello, there's Haven. Jonathan, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. And Jackson, I see Jackson.
Hey,
How
how
are
are you?
how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good tonight. I hope you're having a nice night too.
Yeah. I've got my jacket on. The humidity has been ramping up here in central Kentucky, and so I cranked up the air, but it's a little too much. So in my basement, it's like really cold. But anyway, yeah, things are good. Hopefully, you guys had a, good Memorial Day weekend. I know, Haven, you were moving. You're moving and grooving.
Yes, I am now in Indianapolis, so it is also cold here. So
Yeah.
colder than I expected. I was like, I'm gonna go on a run this afternoon, and then I was like, I don't see the sun, so no.
Yeah. Yeah. Indianapolis. I know it pretty well. Lived there pretty much for a year. So, yeah. What about you, Jonathan? I know you're in the Indy area. You and Haven should probably, work on a lab or something together. I know that'd be fun.
Yeah, I live out in the boondocks on the southeast side of the city, so down towards yeah, I guess kind of think the direction of Cincinnati from Indianapolis, but kind of out towards a little bit more rural area out there.
Okay. Well, I've driven that seven stretches 74 a lot. So,
Yeah, we're just a few minutes away from that highway, so not too far.
okay. Like Seymour? Are you around Seymour?
No, not that far south. I mean, we're probably from Indianapolis proper. We're probably about 30 minutes from downtown
Okay. Okay.
southeast. So
Maybe
we're
Shelbyville or,
yeah, spot on. Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I've got a good friend that he used to have he shared, he co-owned a private plane, just, I mean, not just, it was a prop plane. It wasn't a jet or anything. But one time he flew down to Lexington from Indy and they were flying back. They got into some kind of weather situation, so they ended up stopping in Shelbyville
Hmm.
until like the storm passed or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I've definitely been there.
A bunch of small single props fly around here all the time. They're bouncing back and forth between there and the Greenwood Airport and some other ones. So
Okay, good deal. Good. Well, I definitely love the Indy area. Very nice. There's Renner. How are you, sir?
Good evening. I'm doing really well.
Good. And then Mr. Smith, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing okay. I'm doing okay. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. The way I think I positioned it, our first time we met on the 13th. Yeah, I'm sort of still trying to find my groove when it comes to these live sessions. I've done them where they're mandatory, and a certain percentage of students are get a little surly about that. So then I've just made them, well, we don't have to meet, but and then in those situations, sometimes students feel like, well, I never really had time to connect with you, and so I didn't feel like I got a lot out of the class. So I'm trying to find a middle ground, and I appreciate you guys joining. And my goal is really to just kind of keep the channel of communication open. Like I've done with the other two, I'm recording these. Some people have been great where they've said, "Hey, I couldn't make it, but I watched the recording, just wanted to let you know." And, that's counts in terms of extra credit kind of stuff. So my hope is that it's a win-win for everyone where um, you're getting the info you need from me and the support, but still retaining the flexibility of being able to, you know, sorry, let me turn my phone off here. Have the flexibility to be able to do your life, but then have this class, fit in as needed. So, any questions you guys have about anything?
We got a quick question. Do you
Yes.
know or do you have the topical paper two? Is that assignment information on Discovery?
No, it's not, but not yet. I haven't written the question yet, but um, that'll be not this week, but next week. But I'll take a note and make sure I do that first thing in the morning.
Thank you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Just making myself a note. Anybody else? Now, one thing, hopefully you guys got my email earlier today. So some of you, not you in particular, but some people in the class, they didn't feel like I put a fine enough point on the APA in-text citations and the references list. So if you got points deducted for that, um, I'm just asking that if you want to, you can resubmit adding those citations and the list of references, and I'll reevaluate it. Okay. So, hopefully, if you guys feel like you did miss some points on that, there's an opportunity for you to get those back. So, hopefully that makes sense. And I will make sure to call that out better next time I teach this class. So it's good to be able to have that kind of communication. Colton, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Good to meet you face to face. That's great.
Yeah, sorry. I've been trying to work selling insurance day to day, kind of. So I've been a little busy and trying to get a vacation in and here and there. So,
Yeah, where's home for you, Colton?
Richmond, Kentucky.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
So I'm a local kid. Yep.
That's great. Well, glad to have you. Um, So we were just talking about the topical paper and the in-text citations, as well as the list of references. And if you got points deducted for that, then you have the opportunity to resubmit for that reason. So, um, any other questions? Well, if it's okay with you guys, let me go ahead and I'd like to pray for us. And then beyond that, I will stay on as long as people have questions. And if, let's say, we hang up and then you can text me and say, "Hey, Dr. Ross, I forgot to mention something," then we can connect again or whatever. So I'll be available, this evening. So. Father, I just thank you for these young men and women who love you. Lord, I thank you that we are at an institution and a program where we can unapologetically lift you up. Lord, I thank you for each one of these people whom you love. And Lord, I just ask that you would help them to become everything that you've created them to be, and that this course and this program would be a part of the grace that you extend to them. And Lord, I ask that you give me grace as I attempt to serve them and glorify you. We ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen. All right. Let's see, for those in the Indy area, anybody go to the Indy 5? No.
I just watched it on TV. Apparently, they don't like or they don't have it on TV as it's going unless it's sold out. But this year it was sold out. So, and I talked with people who had went, and it feels like I knew more information about the race watching it on the TV. So I think that that was a good choice.
Yeah. I've been twice. It was cool, but basically had, earmuffs on and was super loud and yeah, I mean you see the cars go by in a nanosecond and it's like, all right, well, they'll be around the corner. They'll be coming around again. It is cool though. I mean, I do love seeing them coming into where we were coming around the last turn and then coming to the finish line. It's pretty cool to see them be there, and then in a nanosecond, they're right in front of you. So that is cool. But
Was that race yesterday or on Sunday?
it was Monday. Monday?
Monday.
Was it Monday? Ooh.
I think it was Sunday.
No, it was Sunday. I'm sorry. Yeah, Sunday. My
You're
bad.
kidding. I drove through Indianapolis on Sunday. I had no idea.
Did you run into a lot of traffic?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. That's so funny. I was in Chicago helping a friend move, and I was on my way back to Lexington. Took me straight through the city and backed up for quite some time.
Well,
Had no
Speedway
idea.
is a
That's so
little
funny.
bit, it's a little bit out of the way, if you will, but I'm sure traffic was jammed up. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut somebody off. Yeah. All right. Well, um, I don't want to waste anyone's time, but I definitely have recorded the folks that attend. I will put this, and we really didn't cover a lot of content. But hopefully, I'm giving you guys enough feedback in the labs and the papers and the cohort recordings that you guys are able to make any adjustments between one week and the next. So that's certainly one of my goals to do a good job of that. So hopefully, you guys are having some fun with those labs. I'm a data nerd, so I definitely love that stuff, but not everybody loves it. Uh-oh, Haven, no, you're not going to change.
I'm just confused. I'm like trying to work on I have number 3 open right now and I'm like, okay, I'm searching up like what bucketize means, but then I'm like, am I bucketizing the cars or the origin of the country and the weight together in one thing, or am I bucketizing them? But then I only have one line of data for like weight, and I only have one line of data for like country of origin. So I'm like, how do you bucketize with one?
Yeah, so what you'll have to do is a great question. So for each one of those variables, you'll create buckets for the weight and the engine size and the country of origin. So you'll basically create additional columns, and then you'll assign each of those line records, whatever the let me see if I can say it right. So for a given record, they'll be in a bucket for weight, for engine size, for country of origin, for miles per gallon. I think those are the dimensions. There might be one more. Um, so that depending upon the question that is being asked, you'll be able to look at the data using pivot tables to be able to determine, okay, if I'm worried about, let's say, container size, well, engine size might have some bearing on that, but really the weight would have a lot of bearing. And so you'll use that variable to determine, how would I optimally arrange these cars in, let's say, an ocean container so that I don't want to buy more shipping space than I need, but I don't want to buy not enough, and then I'm not able to successfully move the product from one place to another. So. Um, the way you create the buckets is, you can do it sort of the poor man's way is you can sort high to low on each one of the variables, and then you could hand type in, one of them and just drag down till you hit the next break point, and then you'll, create or type in the next bucket. What you can do, that's sort of the poor man's version, which I've done before. There's something that you all can research, um, and if you have some trouble, I'm happy to help with that. Something called a nested if statement. And so basically that's, you use the command if, and then you're going to have greater than, less than, or equal to. And when you set that up correctly, then what basically will happen is that each of those values for the variable that you're analyzing, it will get assigned whatever bucket is that you've created. Okay. Um, if you want, if that seems really onerous, what I can do is I can put something on Discovery that would show an example of a nested if. Would that be helpful? And that way, you can decide if you like those parameters, and if you want to change them, that's fine. But the idea would be basically plug and play. So you'd have, um, that nested if, that would be sort of the syntax. And then you can change whether it's weight or it's engine size, you can change all of that relative to the variable that you're analyzing. So clear as mud. Great question, Haven. I will, right after this, I will post an example of a nested if statement on Discovery.
Just a quick question. I'm
Yes.
just looking at the exercise now for the first time and just kind of picking up what we're talking about. But when it says bucketize, is that really just categorizing based off of like whatever variable you want to use per like every 0 to 100, 101 to 200, 201? That's what you mean by bucketize?
That's it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I
I
actually
don't,
did that for one of the other exercises a few ones ago just to help visualize things. So that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Bucket ties might be Kentuckyism. I don't know. But really, what it does is allows you to take a bunch of disparate values for a particular variable, and then sort of chunk it in ways that your head can kind of wrap itself around. Because if you have 1,000 records and you've got all kinds of values for all those variables, like, I don't know, man. I don't know how to make sense of this. And so the categorization, that's probably a lot better term. But I guess for 20 years I use bucketize. So it just allows you to categorize certain values of each of the variables in a way that you can sort of picture it and go, okay, now I sort of get an idea of what's going on. So great question.
That makes sense.
Yes, sir. Great question. Cool. We had like real question and answer. That's cool. That's better than like if you guys are working on this stuff at, 2 in the morning. I'll have been asleep for 4 hours. So, but it's cool to be able to handle that stuff immediately. So, anybody else?
Yeah, I did a couple of the pivot tables wrong on lab two.
Okay.
Do you want to go into that? I mean, if people can learn from what I did wrong, I'm happy to share that with class, quote unquote. But
Yeah.
if you want to go, do you want to do that now, or do you want me to get with you offline at a different time on something like that?
It's up to these guys. I mean, if you want to look at the key, we can look at the key and see what or we can look at your work, Jonathan. It's whatever you want to do. Would
Okay.
that be
Yeah, no,
valuable?
you just made a comment on it. I don't want to pull everybody else into having to, spend their time on that if they don't want to. So I wanted to go over it with you, but I can do that offline at a different time. Happy to do that as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Happy to meet with you, Jonathan, whenever works for you. Absolutely.
I'm gonna hop off so I can get going on lab 3, but thanks
All
so much.
right. Well, you can create your own nested if, or you can wait for me to post it. It's whatever
I'll
joy.
trial and error and then get the
Oh,
correct answer.
well, I mean, it'll be an answer, but there's lots of ways to skin a cat. But yeah, go for it. You'll have some fun with logic and playing around. Make the one thing is make sure it works, right? Because like VLOOKUP, you can think you did it right, and for whatever reason, it just breaks down, and that's happened to me a lot. So it's just a good sanity check, just to keep yourself good. So,
For
all right,
sure.
Haven, good to
I'm
see
going to do the
you.
same. I'm going to hop off also, but thank you
Okay,
so much, Dr. Ross.
you got it. Yes, sir. You're welcome. Jackson, do you want to stick around, or do you feel like you're good right now?
Still a little bit confused about like the bucketing of it. So basically, the assignment's just um, sorting out the cars between like their weight and their origin. Then where do the bar charts kind of fall into this? I was a little bit, I just didn't really understand that.
Yeah, so what you can do is once you bucketize or categorize each of the values for each one of the variables, then what you can do is you can create a pivot table based upon those buckets, and the bar chart would basically look like a histogram. Do you know what a histogram?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically like, let's say you're doing, I'm just making this up, but let's say you have 1,000 automobiles and you'd have, let's say you've got, 250 that are in a certain weight range, and another 250, another 250, and another 250. Then your bar charts would basically be four bars they would be equal in my little hypothetical example. And it just allows you to sort of visually fairly quickly go, oh wow, geez, I got a lot of I got a bunch of, dually F-250s and not a lot of little Ford, whatever their little economy car is, right? So you can sort of look at it and go, oh, okay, man, I've got to make sure I order, I'm thinking about, shipping. I need to make sure I'm ordering the right container sizes or what have you in order to accommodate that. So the bar chart is just a visual representation of the pivot table that you would have built. Some people love tables, some people love charts. So does that
All
make
right.
sense, Jackson?
A little bit more. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Colton, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm getting ready to hop off here, but I apologize for missing the last 2 weeks, but I got my schedule under control now. I should be at the rest. So
Nice, good, good. Well, good luck. The people need insurance, so.
yeah, they do. They do. All right, I appreciate it. I'll see you
Yes,
next week.
sir. Okay, great. Thanks. All right,
I'll
Jackson.
hop off too.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good to see you.
Dr. Ross, do you have time for me to ask you a quick question? Because I think that this will be pretty quick. Do you have time or do you
Yeah.
need to go?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
If you like, I can make you host if you want to share your screen. Is
Yeah,
that
of
cool?
course. Yeah, I've got the key and my
Your work. Nice.
so
Yeah,
I'll just use
so
I'll share a screen too.
yeah.
All right, so that's the key.
Okay.
And then let's see, I'll pull up my work. So what I had done is the NA is I clearly missed something and I don't know what it is. And it's the same for both the RD and the DM ones.
Okay. Okay.
Should be nine according to the key, it should be 907, I think, or 970 for the NA on both. And obviously I'm dramatically over that. So something random miss.
Yeah, let's go to let's go to the table where we were doing the VLOOKUPs. It was the columns in red. Let's see if we
Okay.
can go to that. There we go. All right. So I bet you if we scroll down, we're going to hit a bunch of NAs. Oh, I think I know what happened. Okay. Well, this would be good news, bad news. The good news is you'll learn this. The bad news is it'll be like, crud. Well, I won't make that mistake next time. So let's go over to your pivot tables that you had.
Okay.
All right. So one of the cool things about pivot tables is that if you make changes in the base data set and you refresh, just like email, getting your inbox or whatever, basically refreshing the pivot table, it will update all the values like that. So what happened is if you click into that pivot table, for example, yeah, just anywhere in there. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
just right there. Now go to pivot table analyze at the top. It should be in green.
Pivot table analyze. Is that
Oh, yeah, right up at the top of the ribbon. Yep. Right. Yeah, actually, I'm not doing a good job. So right at the very top, file, home.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, if you go, whoops.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it. All right.
Is it
So,
like insert? Oh,
no, it's
no, there it
actually,
is. Okay.
yeah. So pivot
There it is.
table analyze. Okay. So now what you want to do is see that refresh button right under pivot table. It, if you go, keep going. Yeah, there you go. So there is this button called refresh.
Okay, I see it. I'm sorry. What's happening is the share screen bar has been blocking a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that
that's
happens
why
to me.
that's
Oh
why
my
I haven't
God.
been able to see anything. I've been like,
Oh,
okay,
that's a
gotcha.
pain in the butt. Yeah. So if you hit that, then there you
Oh
go.
wow.
There you
Yeah.
go. So, you know, um, it sucks that you missed a few points, but the good news is you'll be like, holy cow. Now, so the lesson is whenever you make a change in that base data, you want to, Excel, maybe they're working on this, I don't know. But in and of itself, it's not smart enough to know to tell the pivot table, hey, I changed some stuff in the base table and I'm not automatically going to update the pivot table. I'm not smart enough to do that. Maybe they're working on that. That seems like sort of a natural upgrade that they would make.
Yeah. Okay.
Or something to say, hey man, you're looking at an old summary. You need to hit refresh or whatever.
Okay. So in essence, it's not like it wasn't so much a systematic mistake that I made in terms of you did something wrong in terms of how you
Oh,
inputted anything. It's just, hey,
yeah, you did it, man.
understanding how it functions.
You did it. You did the VLOOKUP exactly right. And so
Okay.
when you do one of these again, I can't remember if I'm pretty sure we'll be doing pivot tables again. Um, that if you see something really weird, you're like, maybe I need to hit refresh because I'm pretty sure I did my VLOOKUP correctly. Now I need to
Mhm.
hit refresh and that'll update all of my pivot tables.
Okay. No, that's great. And I mean, I would rather lose percentage points on a grade and learn the lesson. You know what I mean? So it's like that's not something that
You're a wise man.
not a big. I prefer to go that direction anyway. So
Yeah,
great, awesome. That's sweet. Yeah, I was just looking forward to learning that lesson. So I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
you got it. Anytime. I really appreciate anytime you need help. I will try to make myself available, sir. So
Awesome. Well, I sure appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
you got it. Have a great night.
All right, you too. Thanks, Dr. Ross.
Thank you.